Hi everyone, this is Ravi. Welcome to Eggplant AI powered test automation tutorial. As you all know, I have already published two YouTube videos covering introduction to Eggplant automation tool and what are the different components that are involved in Eggplant and what is the architecture of Eggplant automation tool. So this is our lesson 3 where I'm gonna give you the step-by-step instructions to install the Eggplant automation tool and how can we set up the environment so that we can kickstart our test automation by using Eggplant automation tool. Please do subscribe to the channel, click on bell icon, you'll receive notifications whenever I publish more videos. And don't forget to like and share the video. Coming to today's agenda, I'm going to first give you step-by-step instructions. How can we install Eggplant Functional? So if you want to know more about Eggplant Functional, I would recommend you guys to visit my previous video. And then how can you license the Eggplant Functional, which means how can you configure the license after installing the Eggplant Functional. And then I'm going to teach you how can you create your first system under test connection by using Eggplant Functional. And then I'm going to give you instructions to install the Eggplant DAI on server. To know more about Eggplant DAI, I would recommend you guys to visit my previous lesson. And then I'm going to teach you how can we set up the environment so that we can kickstart our test automation by using Eggplant Functional and Eggplant DAI. And also I'm going to teach you how can we install DAI design agent so that we can start writing our test scripts to automate the test cases. I'm going to cover the installation part of DAI run agent in our upcoming lessons. For now, we are going to confine to the DAI design agent only. Let us see step by step how can we install Eggplant Functional first. So to install the Eggplant Functional, following are the prerequisites. The first system recommendation is processor recommendations. So if you see on the screen, Windows processor recommendation is 2 GHz dual core or faster. In the same way for Mac and Linux, for Mac again the same processor 2 GHz dual core or faster. For Linux it should be Intel 8664-bit. In the same way for the memory recommendations, for one EPF instance running on your machine, the RAM requirement is 16 GB or more. To install an additional GUI license, you need to have additional 8 GB RAM. In the same way, for additional command license, you should have additional 2 GB RAM. If you see on the right side, following are the operating systems that are required to install Eggplant Functional. Either you can have Windows or you can have Mac Silicon Intel x64 or ARM 64. And also it supports Red Hat Enterprise Linux. In the same way Ubuntu LTS Linux as well. And following are the versions that are needed to install Eggplant Functional. Now let us see what are the steps to install the Eggplant Functional on Windows machine. First, you need to download the Eggplant Functional Windows installer from the Eggplant Functional downloads page. So this is the URL from where you will be downloading. And then once you download the installer, you need to double click on the installer and then follow the instructions in the setup wizard to complete installation. Now jump onto the system and let us install the eggplant functional. So here is the URL that I have showed you in the presentation. I have landed on the same page. And now if you scroll down, you can see here eggplant functional 23.5.1 is the latest version. And if you see on the right side, this is your .exe file for the Windows, and this is your installer for the Ubuntu, this is your installer for Red Hat, and this is your installer for Mac OS. So here we are gonna download the installer for Windows machine. All you need to do is click on this .exe file, and then it will ask you to save in the location where you would like to start installation. So I would like to save in this location. So you can see here I have already downloaded the eggplant functional 23.5.1 version. So I don't want to again download the .exe file. So hence I am cancelling it. Now once you download the .exe file, let us go to the location where we have downloaded the file. So this is the location where we have saved the file. Now double click on this .exe file and then click on next button. Once you click on next button, again you need to click on next button, which will start the installation process. So it might take a couple of minutes to install your eggplant functional fully. Once eggplant function is installed, then you can open your eggplant functional and then start configuring the license. Now we have completed our first agenda item, installing the eggplant functional. What is our next agenda? Our next agenda is configuring the license in eggplant functional. First of all, let us understand what are the different licensing options that are available by Keysight. The first license option is team licenses. So eggplant functional uses a flexible team license, which is also called as floating license model. So which allows multiple instances to run concurrently within a team environment. So basically, if you have a large team and you would like to buy a floating license, then you can go with this team licenses. So these licenses are managed through an RLM, which means reprise license manager server, enabling users to access them from different machines while adhering to the maximum license count. So basically, these team licenses will have the maximum license count. So you can use this maximum license count in different missions. Only thing which you need to adhere is you should not exceed the maximum licenses. So for environments without a RLM server, there is another option, which is single user node lock licenses are available. So what is the second licensing option? The second licensing option is node locked licenses. So if you have obtained a node locked license, you may install one copy of the software on one computer, instrument or machine, and you have to use the software only on that computer, instrument or machine for your internal business use. You may not display or access the software on a separate computer. So these are the two licensing options that are available. Now let us jump onto the system and configure the license for the eggplant functional that we have installed. Now go to Windows and type eggplant functional here. So this is the eggplant functional application that we have installed. You need to click on this eggplant functional. As soon as you click on eggplant functional, it opens you the eggplant studio. You will have a message saying that no valid licenses found on this machine. So here you can see there is an edit box, license key and the username. So you need to provide the license key that you got when you bought your license, right? So once you provide the license key. So let me copy my license key and paste here. And then you need not to provide any username if you have any temporary license, or if you have any permanent license, you can provide the username as well. So depending upon the license option that you are going for. So, and then you need to click on add. As soon as you click on add, it initializes the license server. So it is now looking out for the license. So now you can see, as soon as the license is initialized, you will be landing onto this page. This page is actually Eggplant documentation page, where you will have a getting started with Eggplant functional, and you can see step by step setting up Eggplant functional. So this is entire documentation you can see in this particular page. So as soon as you initialize the license, now your Eggplant Studio is ready to start use for your test automation purpose. So this is our second agenda item. We have completed our second agenda item. Now what is our third agenda? You need to create your first system under test connection to your Eggplant functional. For that, first we need to launch the Eggplant functional if it is not already running, and open the connection list. And then when the connection list is opened for the first time, you will not see any connections created. And then click either of the add buttons to create your system under test. So the new connection panel opens up. And then select single system from the connection type drop down list, and then provide a name for your system under test or SUT in the display name field, and then specify your username and password. So these will be the credentials you use to log into your Eggplant machine. And then you need to click on save button to save your SUT connection. So you will see your new connection in the connection list as shown in the sample screen below. And then you can connect to your SUT by double clicking on the connection list. So basically you need to select your SUT in the connection list and click on the connect button. So after a few moments, the Eggplant functional viewer window will open, displaying your system under test desktop. So now let us jump onto the system and see how can we perform all these steps to create your first system under test connection. So this is my Eggplant Studio. I have already launched the Eggplant Studio. As I mentioned in the step, go to connections and then select connection list. So you can see here I don't have any connections in the past. That's why you can see this window where it says start by connecting to a system under test. You have an option add a connection with add button. You need to click on add. For now I would like to leave this as new server. And then if you see connection type, if you expand this drop down, these are all the different connection types that Eggplant supports. VNC automatic, VNC standard, VNC legacy, and then you have RDP connections, which is for Windows. You can connect by using WebDriver, and you can also establish the connections for the Citrix machines. You can also establish connection for SOS labs. You can also establish connections for mobile devices, and then single system. So what do you mean by single system? Single system is nothing but you will be establishing the single system connection to connect to your own computer. So in this case, I would like to go with this single system connection. That means I would like to connect to my own computer itself, and then provide the display name here. I would like to name this as single system hyphen Ravi, and then you need to provide your username and password. So here in my case, what is the username and password in generally? So you need to provide the username and password of your Windows machine, because I would like to connect to my own Windows machine, right? So you can provide the username and password for your Windows machine. If you have multiple user profiles, you need to specify which user profile you would like to connect. So in my case, I have almost like 3 user profiles. I would like to follow an approach where I don't want to provide any username and password. How? Let me show you. I'm not providing any username password here. And here in single system options, I would like to have a screen width and height. I would like to go with a standard screen width and height, which is 1980 1080. Okay, and now save the connection here. As soon as you save the connection, now I can see a connection list, right? This is the connection list which shows, let's go back here again, connection and connection list. So now I can see the connection which I have established. Now you need to either double click on this connection or select the connection and then click on connect. So let me just minimize this one. Okay, let me just bring this, let me make this window little smaller so that you can see connect button here. So select the connection that we have established and then click on connect. Because I have not see, you can see here now, start connection, connecting to single system Ravi with a screen resolution 1980 1080. So now because I have not provided the username and password, it is giving me option which profile you would like to select. Do you want to select the first profile, second profile, or third profile? Let's say I would like to select my third profile. So here you can simply provide your username password. But before that, I would like to show you one thing here. If you see here, the top menu, whatever I am seeing here, right? Now my single system window opened. So this is my system under test. Okay, where I will be automating the application in this machine. It is basically my own machine. It is showing in my another window. So if you observe the menu here for my single system or my eggplant or welcome eggplant, these all menus, right, are similar for all of your windows. Whatever the windows that are opened for the eggplant, right, let me put all these here. Okay, this is my second window, this is my third window. You observe closely, eggplant file edit run connection control window. In the same way, eggplant file edit. So basically the menus for each and every window is same. So this is how you can establish the connection. Let's say if I want to disconnect this, you can simply select the connection and click on disconnect. As soon as you click on disconnect, your single system window is closed. So this is how you can create your first system under test connection. We are done with our third agenda item. So we have completed our first 3 agenda items. Now our fourth agenda item is install Eggplant DAI on server. So if you see, we have installed Eggplant functional on tester's machine, whereas the Eggplant DAI should be installed on server machine, not on the same tester machine. So now let us see the procedure. How can we install Eggplant DAI on server machine? Now I'm going to connect to my server machine. So this is my server machine. I have opened docs.eggplantsoftware.com. So here I would like to install Eggplant DAI, right? I'm clicking on this documentation, and now let's select installation, and then DAI Windows installation, and select install or upgrade. So if you scroll down here, you can see all the prerequisites. So these are all the prerequisites to install the DAI. And then if you go back again here, if you scroll down, click on start your installation, and then here you can see download the Eggplant DAI installation file. You'll be landing onto Eggplant test digital automation intelligence downloads. So you can see here I have a latest version DAI 7.5.1 version, and you can see here this is your Windows installer, Red Hat installer. Ubuntu and Mac, we don't have the DAI installers. Okay, so you need to install either Windows server or Red Hat server. So as I am gonna install this DAI on my Windows server, I'm clicking on this .exe file. As soon as I click on .exe file, it will ask you to save the installer. I would like to save in this location under Eggplant folder. So as I already have Eggplant DAI version, I don't want to again download the Eggplant DAI. So I'm cancelling it. So once you download the .exe file, then let us go to the location where we saved the .exe file. So this is the location where we saved Eggplant DAI. So now we already installed Eggplant functional. Now let's double click on Eggplant DAI installer. Now let's keep the path as default path where you would like to store all the files after the installation. So you need to click on next. Now select run advanced install configuration checkbox, and then you need to click on next. Then keep the directory as it is as a default directory, and then click on next. Now here you need to provide the port number. Here I can keep the port number as 8000, where I'll be using this port number to connect my Eggplant DAI server by entering the web URL. And now click on next button, and again click on next button. Now this is the path where all your suits will be saved. So I would like to keep the path as default, and then click on next button. And here now you need to provide the DAI server hostname. Your DAI server hostname is your server machine IP address or your server machine name. So let me go to command prompt and type ipconfig to see my IP address. So let me spell check ipconfig, and this is the IP address 10.0.0.133. Copy this and paste here. And now you need to create username password for two profiles. One is system administrator profile and the other one is DAI administrator. System administrator profile is for the system admin, and then DAI administrator is the DAI admin who can provide the different roles and responsibilities for the DAI server. So let me provide the username for system administrator and provide the password and confirm the password. So then you provide the DI administrator username password. I'm keeping the username password same as my system administrator. And then you need to provide the first name and you need to provide the last name, and then let me enter the email address. So this is my email ID. Once you provide the email ID, then you need to click on next button. So this is the location where I would like to keep my shortcut, right? So I would like to keep the location as default. I don't want to change. And then click on next button and now click on install. So once you click on install, it will take several minutes for us to complete the installation of your DAI server. So let us give us a couple of minutes to complete the installation. Once you complete the Eggplant DAI installation, we need to make sure that the server, DAI server, is up and running. For that, go to Windows, type services and click on services. Once you click on services, you have to go down to digital automation intelligence. What do you mean by digital automation intelligence? It's DAI. So make sure that this service is up and running. It should be up and running and startup type should be automatic. That means your DAI server is up and running in your server. Now you can go to your tester's machine and open the DAI functional so that you can connect your DAI functional to your DAI server machine. So how can we do that? Now let us jump on to the tester's machine so that I can connect my DAI functional to my DAI server. So this is my tester's machine. I would like to access the DAI server from the tester's machine. How can you do that? If you remember correctly, when we are installing the server, we have provided the IP address of the server. This is my server IP address and we have provided the port as 8000. Copy this and then you can provide here 10.0.0.133, which is my server IP address, and 8000 is the port that we have provided during the installation of DAI server. Now click on enter. So this will take you to the page where you need to provide your username and password. So this username and password we have set up while installing Eggplant DAI server. So the same username password that you need to provide here. And then password also you need to provide the same password that we have used while installing the Eggplant DAI. And then click on sign in. So now this is your Eggplant DAI dashboard. So this has multiple modules like test case, model, exploratory, design, controller, insights. I'm going to discuss about all these modules and functionality in my upcoming YouTube videos. But for now, let us go back to our presentation. So we have completed installing Eggplant DAI on server, and then we came back to tester's machine to access the server via URL. Now our next agenda is set up environment. So we need to set up the environment now. To set up the environment, we need to go back to our DAI dashboard. To set up an environment, you need to go to system. So before we set up any environment, you need to first make sure that the license keys are entered per DAI server. Earlier, we have entered the license keys for our DAI functional. So click on these licenses. You can see here, I already have the licenses for execution license as well as the development license. So to add the license, you need to click on license here. Okay, for you might not see these rows here. You might have the empty page here. So to add the license, click on add license, and here you need to copy the license that you have got with the eggplant purchase, and then click on agree. So as soon as you click on agree, a new row will be added with the license number, license type, and what is the use of this license, developer license, and this is your execution license. So I have added two different licenses. One is developer license, another one is execution license. So why do we need these two licenses? I'm gonna explain in my upcoming lessons. So for now let us create environments. To create an environments, you need to go to controller, expand the controller, and then click on environments, and here you have a button called new environment. Click on new environment, name this as, let's say you want to create environment for UAT or QA. So let's assume in my case I'm going to create environment UAT environment, and then let's save this environment. As soon as you save the environment, it will ask you to access the key. So you need to download the key, environment key. Let's download the environment key and save this UAT environment key under downloads. Let's assume. Save this environment key under eggplant folder. Save this, and here let's keep this. Okay. So now your UAT INI file is downloaded. So this is your UAT INI.ini file. Okay. We are going to use this UAT environment file shortly. So let us go back to again to the controller. So now you can see a new environment is created for me. So after this, if you see on the top, you have agent tools. You need to click on this agent tools, and here you need to install the design agent. If you go back to our slide, we have completed setting up environment. Now you need to install the DAI design agent. How? Choose the DAI design agent for Windows. So you can see here DAI design agent installer for Windows. Select this one and then click on download. This will download the design agent. Let's save this one. Okay, and then click on keep. Done. Now let's go back to the folder where we have stored all these, both of them. What we need to do here, you need to run this DAI design agent. Double click on this. It will take just a moment. See, it's completed running the DAI design agent. And close this one. So if you now go to Windows, type Eggplant DAI design agent. You can see here now I have a DAI design agent here. You need to open this DAI design agent. So this will open your DAI design agent. So here you need to select the environment where you would like to execute or design your test cases. Here I would like to add a new environment. What I'm going to do, I'm going to add this UAT INI file that we have downloaded earlier. I'm going to just click on add new and go to the location where we have stored this UAT.ini file. Select this UAT.ini file And now you can see here, it automatically brought the server URL 10.0.0.133 8000 port number. How? Because we have downloaded the design agent from the server URL. So that's why it is pointing to the same server. And then you need to click on login. So what happens as soon as you click on login? So now I have logged into Eggplant DAI design agent. So now we have completed installing the DAI design agent. That means in testers machine we have installed Eggplant functional. We have also installed DAI design agent with the help of Eggplant DAI server, and we have installed our Eggplant DAI in our server machine, and also we have created our first system under test in testers machine after installing Eggplant functional. Now we have all the required components installed in our testers machine and also on the server, so that we can start our test case automation by using Eggplant. So in my next YouTube video, we are going to start our first test automation by using Eggplant functional and by using Eggplant DAI. Hope you all understand how can we install Eggplant functional on testers machine, how can we configure the license for the Eggplant functional, and then how can you create your first system under test connection by using Eggplant functional, and how can you install the Eggplant DAI on server machine, and then how can you set up the environment, and how can you install the DAI design agent in testers machine by using Eggplant DAI web URL. Please do subscribe to the channel, click on bell icon, you'll receive notifications whenever I publish more videos. Don't forget to like and share the video. Thank you.